have a new volleyball coach there, Olivia Steimel, who is we're bringing in. She's going to do a great job, and she's kind of paired up with Maddie Tate over at Glendale uh, as a new volleyball coach. Also, she was in our program, so we've had some movement lately. But probably one of the ones that are the most unique. We are losing a Boyce at Glendale Swim, and we're replacing him with the Boyce. Jordan Boyce is going to become the new head men's and women's swim coach at Glendale High School, replacing her dad, which is just a cool story.
That's terrific. That a voice replaces a voice. That's well done. Josh, when you take applications, give us a ballpark figure about how much time it requires to make a decision on that.
Well, every position in our system has to be open at least 5 school days, 5 business days. So that's the start of it. By the time that we know or we're notified, that job is open for 5 days, and then from there we really start the vetting, and we want to always bring in at least 5 or 3 candidates to look. So we try and narrow it to 5, and then figure out who are the best 3 that we can bring in to talk to. And then from there, HR has to do their magic and backgrounds and make the offers. So from the time we are able to start moving, I would say the quickest it could be from offering a meeting to closing the loop is about 10 days.
When the talking begins, when you interview, how many others are doing it beside you?
Almost always for a head coaching position, it's me, the building athletic administrator, and the high school head principal, and then sometimes we'll have a department head or other coaches in the district that'll be in that meeting also. But usually, it's at least the 3 of us.
Josh, what are you still trying to fill now? Because I know it's hiring season at all schools in the area. What do you got left that you want as a priority? You need to get filled pretty quick.
So right now, our big openings are assistant coaching openings that we have around the area. But we have kind of a unique position, Scott, that we've started with a youth sports director, or a director of youth sports. What is in my mind and my vision, kind of was charged by our superintendent, was the idea of creating youth feeder teams to try and start to play in our high school colors and start to build more of a feeder program look, even at the elementary school. We're very fortunate with the amount of um, club teams and travel ball and all of those opportunities. But what we want to do is we want to try and build something in the city that can kind of make us look a little bit more like single high school towns with, hey, here is you're over here at McBride. You're going to be in brown and gold. You're going to be a chief. Let's start it in the elementary school. And that's kind of our idea of what we're going to try and start to push. So we have that position out, looking for someone to help me direct that and lead that initiative.
And where will they play in, like, city leagues, or where will they actually compete, or
You
how
know,
do you
we've
see that?
we're kind of modeling it after what several local area schools are doing, and some are doing local leagues to start, and then they're transitioning out to maybe different tournaments out of the city if they choose to. But one of the, a lot of times, it, SPS is there's so many schools, it's a lot to handle when it comes to 5 high schools, 10 middle schools. But what people lose the hidden benefit is we have at least 4 games in town right away. And with youth kids, there's no reason why we couldn't play home and away and have an 8 game schedule immediately. And then you try and throw in some of the local leagues, or maybe we join Spark Soccer, or maybe we join the basketball leagues. I'm not really fully sure. We're going to let this person try and vet out what's the best opportunity for our kids.
Well, in implementing that plan, Josh, does that change any of the regular feeder districts that, like a Kickapoo and a Glendale and so forth and so on?
No, nothing's. We're just going to
Does,
look to add this in.
Well, wanted to ask you, and it's a hot button topic in the area, the facilities wars out there, especially on the perimeter of Springfield, with what Republic and Nixon and Raj and all of them, Hollister even, and they've got into that. Where are you on talks for? I know there was a chance at one point about an indoor facility and decided to pivot and I think renovate Harrison Stadium. But it's tough. I mean, when you've got 5 schools and it's kind of the all for one for all with 5 schools versus a single school district. Kind of talk about that and what the future holds in that regard for Springfield.
Yeah, I don't think that we've pivoted away from it at all. I would not say that that's a good characterization. I just think we had to address Springfield Central first. We need a facility for them. From a scoreboard, the turf needs to be redone, the track needs to be resurfaced, and we need to build a field house. And so that's what we're going to take care of first. And then as soon as that gets done, then we're going to start to pivot to the next piece and start to look there. Our school board is still committed to the idea of one of these multi-purpose learning facilities on each of our high schools, because that's what we want to do. We want to be able to use it during the day for PE, for band, for music. We want to be able to use it after school for everyone. So I think it's there. It's in our priority list of a lot of things that we need to address. And I do envision us getting there, Scott. It's still a goal.
And is that one for each school or one big one for all the schools in your mind?
The last time that we transitioned to one at each of the high schools. It made more sense. If you've seen, not to speak about anybody's, but we made a trip to Stratford. We made a trip to Hollister. The Hollister one is so functional, and so is the Stratford's. It's about 60 yards wide, which is that's my big number one. It has to be 60 yards wide, with a football field being 53 yards wide. You want to be able to set up like you would line up in a game and run a play to the right or the left, right? You don't want your wide receiver running into a wall right off the field. And then from there, we want 50 yards long. If you can give any coach 50 yards long by 60 yards wide, they can do anything and everything they need. We can drop cages, we can do all that. So that footprint we really like. We really think that we can do something with, and we think it's something that's attainable.
Do you have any kind of a target date for the entire project being created?
Not yet. Right now, Ned, I think what we're trying to do, public education across the state is really holding on to what is going to come out of Jeff City with budgets and funding and where districts are. So I think that's a big push that we have to look for and see where we are financially as we start to put these goals out there.
Finances, of course, is always the big project that has to be overcome. Along those same lines, Josh, do you have any indication from Misha at all whether or not a shot clock in basketball is forthcoming?
I imagine I would be very shocked if we do not see it in the upper classes first. And I'd be surprised if it didn't come sooner than later.
Josh, we had, we have Chris Parker on every Monday for talking high school sports. And then Coach Perry at Nixon was on yesterday. And one of our hot topics this week is girls flag football. Marshfield and Nixon now have it in our area. Parker talked about on Monday how it's kind of exploded in the Kansas City markets and things like that. What do you envision there maybe for SPS down the road?
Yeah, I think flag football is probably an option for us. I think there's 2 other emerging sports out there that we're trying to get our head around, Scott, with boys volleyball and then stunt cheer. And I think all 3 of those are out there with interest and ideas. We have been working in our district with our transportation director, and he has done an amazing job. But it's really hard to bring sports in when the majority of people playing those sports are over 3 hours away. They're in St. Louis and they're in Kansas City. So you're like, hey, we're gonna bring these sports in. It's gonna be awesome. But no matter what, the only way that we're gonna play is if we travel 3.5 hours.
Are you surprised boys volleyball hasn't taken off in this area?
Yes and no. It's hard to bring sports in. There's a cost factor, there's a transportation factor, there's a coaches factor. So it's really hard anytime that you want to start a sport from nothing and bring it in.
Josh, have you had any numbers of the interest of the young men in playing the volleyball?
We've had a little bit of interest at a couple schools, but not overwhelming interest.
Interesting.
One of the hot topics in the area as well, and it wasn't out yet at the time we had you on last time, but the move of Central and Parkview to the reborn Ozark Conference starting in 27. You feel like all your 5 schools now are in a great place where they need to be with their conference affiliations starting then?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. When I took this job 8 years ago, I never would have thought that SPS schools would not be in the same conference.
Hmm.
And Hillcrest sliding into the OMC. We made moves when the Ozark Conference kind of really had a lot of members leave, and we love Glendale and Kickapoo being in the COC. We think they belong there. We think that's where they need to be. They're playing the schools they should, but we really wanted a different home for Parkview and Central. And we made the commitment to go independent before we even thought that this was an option. And when we had the invitation from the Raleigh superintendent and the idea of reforming the Ozark Conference, the idea of getting all of our kids an opportunity to compete in the conference tournament, win all conference honors, have that extra thing that they're playing for, competing for. It was a no-brainer, and I'm really excited where our schools are.
Josh, you working on 28 yet for the TSC, or when does that start?
It never stops. My big goal, Scott, is not 28 right now. My big goal is September of 2026, and hope like heck we're holding on that all of our kids stay at the schools that we have.
Absolutely. And in last year, you lost one of the entries, lost 2 All-Americans in the fall, which doesn't happen as much anymore. Now it's usually summer or spring after their school year transition time.
Jason and I like to think if we can keep them through, to September 1st, they're going to stay. But yeah, losing the 2 out of Sierra Canyon, or 2 Sierra Canyon from St. John Bosco was pretty late. But if you have Brent, you still have Christian Collins, a top 10 kid in the country. That's a nice reason to keep him.
What are Schaefer's demands to return to the TSC from Rogersville now? I'm sure it's a lengthy list, is it not?
I called him the other day and I was like, okay, John, way too early, number 11 team in the country and the Max Prep Small Town Coach of the Year nationally. What do I have to do? Do I have to get you a hotel now? And he's like, yeah, I think that would be nice. So, when he was in the state championship game, he could hardly stand because his back was so bad. So I think I'll get some extra ice bags and get a stim machine back there. Yeah, we'll have a little John Schaefer area for him.
Maybe a suite this time around or something too. Yeah. All right.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, Josh, always appreciate your time. You got a thankless job with all the schools, and I can only imagine we ought to do a reality show with the calls you guys get throughout the day, just about this, that, and everything else. But you guys do a great job and keep up the great work.
Hey, thanks, Scott. Thanks, Ned. Appreciate you all.
Sure. You bet.